Perfect. All right. So welcome everybody to this evening's Manifestation Brilliance Masterclass, which I'm very, very excited about. I'm really excited about. And if you've just arrived, I'm just asking where you are in the world and to pop a 1 in the chat if you've worked with me before, and a 2 in the chat if you're new to my work, if this is a brand new experience. And can I just check as well that everyone can see me okay and that you can hear me okay? Yeah, and fab. And just to let you know, if you're new, we do love a bit of spirit fingers around here, just so you know. So in sign language, this is applause. So it's really, really lovely just if for me to also get some feedback, which I appreciate as well. And yeah, that's great. So you can see me, you can hear me. We're all here to basically bin some bullshit with regards to manifestation. Yes, please and thank you. I'm also going to take you through her story of manifestation. So 4,000 years. We started, it was going to be 2,500 years, but I'm going to give you basically a highlight tour of the history or her story of manifestation, just to show you what a really important lineage it is with regards to women and our experience and our medicine and our power. And then we're also going to give you really practical steps to transform your manifestations. And then really that'll be us, because we're an hour together, which will be, so you know, we're gonna ask for time to slow down and become a bit stretchy so that we can enjoy it. And again, if you've just arrived, this is great. So we've got a good mix. We've got a good mix of folk that have worked with me before, new people. You're so welcome. To the new folks, you were a stranger that I already cared about. Yes, please, and thank you. So this is absolutely wonderful. Great. Oh, and Raja from New Delhi as well. Lovely to see you here too. That's fab. So what I'm going to do to allow us to arrive, we've also got Sussex and North France and Surrey. Amazing. What I'm going to do to allow us to arrive is I'm going to play a bit of music, and I would really invite you to set your intention for our time together. I set your intention for our time together. If you are called to dance and move, please feel free to do so, but we can't do this work without our bodies being involved. So in the first instance, I am just going to play a little bit of music for a few minutes so we can set the intention and set the magic and go from there.
I close my eyes and I can see a world that's waiting up for me, that I call my own.
And this is what it's all about, right? Creating a world together.
Through the dark, through the door, through where no one's been before, but it feels like home.
Just gathering your thoughts, gathering yourself.
They can say it all sounds crazy.
Jotting down an intention for tonight.
They can say I've lost my mind. I don't care if they call me crazy. We can live in a world that we design. 'Cause every night I lie in bed, the brightest colors fill my head. A million dreams are keeping me awake. I think of what the world could be, a vision of the one I see. A million dreams is all it's gonna take.
Really be setting your intention for what is it you want to transform in your manifestation practice. What is it you want to experience more of? Louise, I love that your 6-year-old is twirling. Is that your inner or your actual 6-year-old? I love that. I love that.
With things from far away.
I love that. Yeah, perfect.
Special things I compile, each one there to make you smile on a rainy day. They can say it all sounds crazy. They can say we've lost our minds. See, I don't care if they call us crazy. Run away to a world that we design. 'Cause every night I lie in bed, the brightest colors fill my head. A million dreams are keeping me awake. I think of what the world could be, a vision of the one I see. A million dreams is all it's gonna take. Oh, a million dreams for the world we're gonna make. However big, however small, let me be part of it all.
Okay. Jen, thanks for letting me know about the sound there. Is that okay now? Is that clear? Cool, perfect. All right. So we're setting our intentions, which is just to have a lot of fun together in the time that we've got. That's what our intention is. What is it that you would like to shift around manifestation? And please feel free to drop that in the chat as well. It's really helpful for me to know. And then we're going to move through our experience together. And I've prepared something earlier to share with you, which is going to be absolutely wonderful. So just to let you know, whilst this is presenting, I'm not going to be able to see the chat. But what I would really offer you to do is, what do you want to transform with your manifestation practice? What would you like to leave with by the end of the night? Drop that into the chat so that then we can make sure that all of the medicine is really, really magic. And, why are you here? Why are you here and why are you with me? Well, I've got over 25 years experience, even more than that, really, if I think back to being a kid, about leading manifestation, which is completely, completely magical. It's just such an exciting space to be in. And basically, if joy isn't present for me, I am going to find it and I am going to bring it into the room and I'm going to make it completely magical, because I believe really, truly that we can transform everything actually from a place of being resourced and experiencing joy and experiencing transformation. So I'm really interested in creating a world that's in love, and I am interested in creating leaders that are in love as well, so that we can do that really from a place of ultimately magic, because magic is human. Magic is human. So today we are going on a bit of a journey. So we are creating, and we've already started to create, the conditions for growth and for magic for everybody. And that's allowing us to arrive, being comfy, dancing, having the blankets, having the candles. We're also going to have a great time playing manifestation bullshit bingo, which I'm really looking forward to. Yes, please, and thank you. As I said, we're going to look at her story of manifestation. We're going to give you 5 steps for success, and then we'll kind of be out the other side and we'll see what magic we've created along the way, ultimately. And so you're here probably because you're frustrated with manifestations. You might be pursuing some things in your life. You could also have a huge level of success across the board that you're really excited by and that you absolutely want to experience more of. Somebody somewhere, some wretched person, might have said to you that you have a block, or even worse, there's a curse. And they can remove it for a couple of $100. No, thank you. We don't do that around here. We're not interested in that. So we'll move through that as well. And I do really want to iterate to you, like, you're not broken and you're not blocked. It's so easy for people to say that these days without recognizing how much damage and how much harm that language causes. We are also going to be talking about the nervous system tonight. And so it could be that, for example, your nervous system has you in a priority of creating some safety and some stability, and maybe it hasn't quite learned how to take in the good, or how to co-create, or even how to receive, which is a real key when it comes to manifesting. So we're going to talk about that as well. And so you're in the right place if you want to basically manifest and create with authenticity. I wonder if you can hear my cat in the background. Shadow is coming to say hello as well. And if you want to create from alignment, and if you want to create from ease and from flow as well, these are all the spaces that we do get to play in. It's allowed, it's encouraged, and it's really, really important that we do that as well. And then so now we're going to play Manifestation Bullshit Bingo with me, your host. I don't have a theme tune, but I feel like we should have a theme tune for this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and then I'm just going to have a wee look at the messages. Marvelous, marvelous. Oh yeah, we'll come back to those as well. And then basically with the bullshit bingo, what I'm going to ask you to do is I'm going to read out a statement. And if you currently believe that statement is true, just jot down a tick or a circle or a something that notes it down. And then we'll just work through the statements. And then at the end, I'll ask you to drop in the numbers. Now, please know there's no right or wrong to this. This is really about raising our awareness to all the bullshit that's basically in the zeitgeist about manifestation. So we want to call it out now so that we can transform it and we can give you a better experience ultimately as well. So that's the key component of this. 1 second. Let me just get my BS bingo script at the ready. Da, da, da. And just checking everyone can see me and hear me okay. Everything's clear. Yeah, okay. Oh, yes, perfect. You learn quickly, team. Yes, we love this. Okay. So with regards to our bullshit bingo, number 1, do you believe you have to be high vibe 24/7 to manifest? So you can drop a wee tick or a mark for yourself. Do you believe that you can only manifest at certain times of the month or year? Just notice if that's a yes or no. Do you believe that what you've been told are limiting beliefs are limiting your manifestations? Do you believe what you've been told are your limiting beliefs are currently limiting your manifestations? Let me know. Someone told me I've got a block. You point them out to me if they did. You point them out to me. I'll go and have a conversation with them. So let me know about that. Yeah. Someone told me I had a block. Yeah. Write or jot down a yes or a no or a tick if you think manifesting is the first step to manifesting. Do you think manifesting is the first step to manifesting? And your brain might be thinking, excuse me? Jot down a yay or a nay. Yeah. Do you think the universe tests you right before the thing you want manifests? Do you currently believe that, yeah, the universe tests you right before the thing that you want manifests? You can have a point or not for that one. And do you believe the more you create and the more successful you become, the more the universe tests you? Do you believe that the universe tests you harder and harder? And by the way, I'm using the universe here. You might use God, you might use source. You know, you might use a word or not at all, or these things might mean nothing. They might not land for you at all. Do you think there's only one way to manifest? Do you think there's only one way to manifest? I'm so curious. I get so nosy. I just want to know what everybody thinks about this. But anyway, we'll carry on. So your life isn't manifesting and you think that it's your fault. You're blaming yourself. Your life isn't manifesting the way you would like it to, and you think it's your fault. You're blaming yourself. Just make a wee note if that's true or not for you at this point. Do you believe that manifesting is hard and you have to hustle to win the game of manifestation? So do you think that manifestation is hard and you have to hustle to win the game of manifestation? Do you think the world is a mirror? Do you think the world is a mirror? Do you think the world is a reflection entirely of you? Let me know what you think. Is that a yay or a nay for you? Do you have a belief or a thought that you're not worthy of what you want to manifest, so the universe does not give it to you? When something really crappy happens, do you hear the words from anyone around you, you manifested that? Oh, that's another one. That's another one. You point out anybody that said that to you, and I will go and have a lovely, friendly chat with them. Yeah. So when something challenging happens, do you believe that you manifested that? Just have a wee think and a feel into that. Do you believe you need specific tools, crystals, and rituals to manifest? So do you believe that you need specific tools, rituals, and crystals to be able to manifest? Do you believe that sharing your manifestations will jinx them? Are you constantly waiting for a sign from the universe? Are you constantly waiting for a sign from the universe? Well, hello there, sir. That's Shadow coming and joining in. And then I think one more. Do you believe you need to cut out low vibe people from your life in order to be able to manifest your experience in the world? Do you believe you have to cut out low vibe people? So that is us. I would invite you to, that gives us, I think that's a total of 22. If someone's been keeping more of a tally than I have, please let me know. But tally them up and bring your courage with you and drop in how many out of 22 were alive for you there. Again, no right or wrong. It's just about us becoming aware about all the nonsense that we are carrying around in our brain. And by nonsense, please know that I say that with a lot of love, because when it has meaning for us, it's really important. But also my purpose is to free you from the stuff that isn't helping so that you can become a radical receiver, create more love, and create the world that you really want to live in, that's best suited for you and your magic. That's ultimately what we want to do. We want to bin the BS. So we've got some numbers. We've got 17, 6, 10, 17, 9, 10 to 12. I love that. Oh, you only have 17 questions, not 22. Oh, I beg your pardon. We've done 17. Oh, there we are. Okay, well, we're doing it out of 17 people. All right. So 7, 8, 7, 6, 16, 8, 5, 2, 11. Great. Okay, beautiful, beautiful. A yes and a no. I love that. I love that. So I would just offer you as well. It's so wonderfully varied, right? It's so wonderfully varied. And I wonder if there's one in particular that really stood out for you, that you were like, oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. If there was any of them in particular that you were like, yeah, that one I would like to deal with immediately. And again, also just noticing that in the modern way that manifestation is taught, so much of it is about this really weird idea of a very small universe, source, or God that is apparently quite manipulative and quite mean at the end of the day, which basically sounds, in a way, like a judgmental human. And I, for one, don't think that's what the universe is. I don't think the universe is a judgmental human, and I don't think that's what it's about. I don't think that's what life is about either. So there's, again, just really noticing where in the last 10 years, we've had a lot of this really derogatory messaging that's come into the zeitgeist, and then it's come into our minds, and then it's rattling around in there. And there's still a certain number, right? Even if we've done a lot of work and we've deconditioned from this, there's still some of this that is rattling about. And by the way, if you hadn't cottoned on, everything that I was sharing is ultimately bullshit. None of those things are actually true that I shared in terms of the manifestation bingo. So we've got, let's have a little look. So the ones that stood out, I've got a block. We can't share it in case we jinx it. The one about limiting beliefs was my yes, no. The rest were all no's. Not being worthy and it being my fault if it doesn't work, that it's my fault if it's not working, that maybe it's also in my thoughts, that you need certain tools to manifest, limiting beliefs, and the one about manifesting is the first step to manifesting. Blaming myself, and if bad things happen, it's because I manifested it. I tell myself that. It's tough, isn't it? Crappy means I've manifested it. And manifesting challenges. So let's just allow all of that to be there. We'll take a little bit of a fuller inhale together and a little bit of a fuller exhale. But really, really just allow that to come out. We'll take another fuller inhale and another fuller exhale again, because none of it is your fault. My goodness, it's just so it's so pointy, when we've been experiencing that or believing that. So I really, really want to offer that to you. No one is blocked. No one is blocked either. And you really haven't got anything to blame yourself about. You really haven't got anything to blame yourself about at all. I think what can be really interesting in this as well, and this is part of where we're moving towards tonight together, is actually none of those things that we've shared, none of those myths talk about receiving. None of them talk about receiving. So none of those teachers talk about receiving. Now, I'm not going to name names, but there has been in the last sort of 10 to 15 years, this perception that everything is outside. And if and when, the universe decides you have jumped through enough hoops, then the thing that you desire will manifest. Well, that to me also sounds like an organized religion. That doesn't sound like that does not sound like something that has been around for 4,000 years as part of our medicine, as part of our connection to nature, as part of our connection to the oneness, and as part of what I would call being a deliberate receiver, right? And I love there was quite a few smiles there. Can I just get a little one in the chat of what I said then, just sort of really connected, that it sounds like an organized kind of religion. It sounds like some organized faith path made up by humans, right? Made up by humans. Love it. Ones are just firing through. Totally. Now, look, some of the other myths just to share with you that we've got as well are things like, you've got to detach completely for your desires to arrive. We've all probably heard that one too. Only certain people are good at manifesting. That's another one. You have to follow very specific rules. And what I want to say to you around all of this is that your nervous system doesn't need any of that bullshit, essentially. It's so challenging for the nervous system to think that list, 17, 18, 19, of all of those thoughts, all of those beliefs, that is impacting your capacity to stay regulated, to create capacity for creativity, which we're gonna talk about as well, because actually manifestation, the way that I come at it, is really about the fourth step. It's nowhere near being the first step to manifestation. But don't worry, you're gonna have the 5 steps. Yeah. And we do want to think about it as it being actually the universe is fairly neutral, because it's just out there expanding, having a blast, like creating a new galaxy, being like, oh, here's a new species, oh, a black hole. It's like, at what point is that consciousness of the universe being like, what I'll do is I shall become Santa and write a naughty and nice list. And then, I'll see how everyone is performing. I mean, very specifically, that sounds like, again, some organized religion. And I'm not here for Santa in the sky. It's not the dealio. So again, we're changing states, we're changing perceptions here, and we're gathering. And gathering is really important also when it comes to being a radical receiver, which is one of the most exciting bits. And we're also, I really, really want you to understand as well, that there are a million, probably a trillion different ways to create and to manifest, and you'll have your way. Now, are some of them similar? Yes, they are. Do you need only any tools? The only tool you actually need is your imagination. And I don't want you to hear that and think, eyeball roll. Okay. All of our tools are super joyful. I am surrounded by crystals. I have, my 3, I don't know if you can see them. I've got my 3 little witches up there. I've got my altars. I've got, totems and tokens of the things that are dear to me. But you are the magician. You are the archetype of the sorcerer. You're the archetype of the potion maker. It's actually, everything comes through you, which is why I'm sharing tonight basically the difference between being fully focused only on manifesting, very essentially related to the last 10 years in specifically, and also becoming, again, a radical receiver. And you will have the difference by the time that we complete. So I'm going to share my screen with you again. Let me just check where I am at. Where did my doodah go? 1 second. Let me find what I'm looking for, and then here we are. Okie dokie. I do love tech, but sometimes, let me find where we're at. Here we are. Okay. Oh, thank you very much. So we had the great joy of playing Manifestation Bullshit Bingo. You all did perfectly because you are already perfect. And again, it's just about gathering data and information. Look how sad this wee doggo looks. Dearie me. That's what we want to move away from, quite frankly. So to reiterate, you can overcome these myths, and you can unlock, and you are unlocking the power of receiving. Now, also what I want to tell you, if you fall down a rabbit hole of receiving, you will find next to nothing written about it. It's fascinating to me, absolutely fascinating. Even folks like, say, Esther Hicks and the vortex. This vortex is apparently all outside of us. Is it? No, come on, really? Ugh, like, we are a trillion, however many cells of goodness and magic and biological organization. It's incredibly exciting to be a human, but we haven't been taught ultimately, and we've kind of forgotten along the way for a variety of reasons, which brings us to her story of manifestation. Now, look, I need to tell you, prepare yourself for the busyness of this next slide. Okay, if you are someone that likes stuff really organized, your brain might be like, what the hell is this? It is just to basically show you how magical we are and how long this magic has been around for. And I'm going to tell you there's 2 slides, and the second one is a little bit more organized, but we'll move to the first one. Are you ready? Are you with me? Okay, cool. Right, let's do this. So here we go. Here we go. Now, bear in mind, I am a complete geek, and information and bringing information from lots of different spaces and places is absolutely my vibe and my jam. Okay. I know that lots of people say, no one is teaching this anywhere. I legit have never seen anyone offer or teach this. So we're going to go about 4,000 years back before we're really kind of counting centuries in the way that we do. So BCE. And we have this beautiful magic, basically of priestess energy, actually, that's really happening, again, from an archetypal perspective. So we've got Hinduism, Jewish mysticism, all the original people of the original lands, you know, their absolute powerful medicine. We've got ancient Egyptian, and then we have all these gorgeous, gorgeous people, Isis, Nefertiti, you know, Sappho, Boudica, all knocking about, all being basically in their, they are magicians, they are manifestors, and more than that, they are radical receivers. And when we come to the 5 steps, that's going to stand out as to why that's so important. You know, from this place, we move to the 1st through the 3rd century, where we get the early, and I have put Christianity and Catholicism in inverted commas because obviously Jesus was Jewish, and his divinity and love and teachings were coming from a Kabbalistic perspective. And Christianity was something that was created by other people, and it can be a very beautiful faith path. But like all things, if it's structured in a very specific way, it can also be incredibly challenging and damaging as well. So we've also got our Eastern, kind of traditions that are happening. We've got Taoist priestesses, and I love this, between the 1st and the 3rd century, Qigong is coming into being, Tai Chi is coming into being. You know, we move to the 3rd through the 6th, and we have Theano. Now, I had no idea about this, but actually she contributed to Pythagoras' work. And so no Theano, no Pythagoras. Fascinating. Of course, we'll just knock that out the history books. And why is that happening? Because it's happening with sacred geometry as well, which is something all of this lineage knows about. It's not that there's a specific way to do things, but if the universe is anything, she is balanced. She is about harmonics. She is about resonance. And again, we'll come on to that, because there's a whole thing around why talking about frequency can glitch us ultimately when we don't have an understanding of what it is. We have medieval Europe kicking about from the 5th through the 10th century. We've also got rise of Islamic civilization. We've got this fabulous dynasty happening that is being led by a wonderful woman. And then we've got the Bhakti and Sufi movements which is just pure poetry and love and dance and exuberance and joy and glory and connection with nature. And we've got Mira, Andal, Rabia, you know, who are women who are teaching here. We've got this wonderful 9th century, and actually we've got this wonderful woman, Fatima, who set up this university that, according to my research, it could still be the oldest university that we have known that is still actually educating people, which is just absolutely extraordinary. And then we come into the 10th century, you know, where we've got some really interesting, when we've got Hildegard. I love that Hildegard is known as a medieval mystic. You know, technically we don't refer to the Dark Ages as the Dark Ages anymore, and we do refer to it as a medieval, you know, kind of series of experiences. But I just love that there was this amazing German woman who was like, mysticism is real, people, you know, mysticism is real. 11th century, we're moving through Italy and China. 12th century, we're seeing Zen Buddhism come into the world. It's so, so beautiful. We've got Maori, we've got Christian mysticism, and we've got other women moving us through the 13th century. Now, this is when it starts to get really, really interesting, because come the 14th century, we are just beginning to basically have the Renaissance. Julian of Norwich has also just been basically put in a bricked up room out beside a church in Norwich, and that's where she's going to see out her faith. You know, she doesn't see anybody. She wears a scratchy dress. you know, her entire life, and she's no contact with the outside world. So it's incredible to think that her faith took her to a place of being walled in. Now, from there, then we've got our beloved Joan of Arc. And then at the same time, the witch hunts begin. This is really important to you. And so bear in mind, so we've got Renaissance, you know, Juliana Norwich doing her thing, that being completely allowed, because it's not weird at all for a woman to brick herself into a church. You know, that doesn't say, you know, we need to have a conversation and talk about where you're at. We've got Joan of Arc, you know, then we've got the witch hunts. And then at the same time, we've got this beautiful interest. Oh, we've got this incredible woman from the Ondonda, you know, kind of she who walks with the stars. Can you imagine that being your name? What a woman. She is, you know, she pertains, and I'm, you know, to be one of the strongest manifestors, which is to say medicine women and creatives that actually we've ever known. We come into the 17th century, which, by the way, the witch hunts are still going on, and we move into the Baroque phase of life because we need more opulence, obviously, whilst all the knowledge from all of these centuries is being, you know, wrecked and taken out. And then we come into the 18th century, the Rococo, where actually the Age of Enlightenment is interesting for manifestation, because then we begin to see more salons coming back into the world, and we start to see a lot more women writers. Now, look, this is just a snapshot of the lineage of manifestation and radical receiving. We are part of something absolutely extraordinary, and this really is just the beginning of it. And then we move into this wonderful, wonderful, I think, space of the 18th and the 19th century. So then what we have here is 1848, the first women's rights convention as we know it formally today. So basically, I would hazard we are ultimately still having the same conversation as we were in 1848. It's so, so interesting. We start to have these incredible women coming forward who are actually, they're early New Thought movement women, which is to say early manifestation as we know it in our timeline here. And then we also have this really interesting timeline starting to happen, where in 1893, New Zealand granted women the rights to vote. But then what we start to see is actually it was 1918 for the UK, 1920 for the US, 1930 for white women in South Africa, 54 for Nigeria, 63 for Morocco, and 1994 for Black women in South Africa to have a right to vote. It's extraordinary, isn't it? It's now, it's our present, it's our present. You know, so women's rights to vote, so interesting. So we've got this incredible rich history. Then we have, you know, kind of our disconnection from that. And then we've got the New Thought movement, which begins to popularize, you know, kind of where we're at and what we're experiencing. Then we've got 1906, which was actually, it was in a text by a guy that was published. This is the first time we see law of attraction, 1906, actually being written down. Fascinating. It is one of 12 laws. It's not the only law, but we can see actually the decline of manifestation and creativity actually from 1906, I think, as a result of the focus being only on the law of attraction, as opposed to the law of radical receiving and being a creator. I'm fascinated by it. And then we come over, you know, to our Enlightenment thinkers. And then we just have even more wonderful, wonderful people. Florence Scovel Shinn, by the way, is one of my most favorite humans. I would have absolutely loved to have gone to a salon with her. If you try and track her sort of lineage, she'll just say that she came up with it. And she probably did, but it was definitely in the zeitgeist. Her books are brilliant. You know, Your Word is Your Wand, The Game of Life and How to Play It. These were published in 1925. 1925, you know, it's like, it's so interesting. And by the way, Louise Hay wouldn't be Louise Hay without Florence Scovel Shinn. It's so interesting. And in fact, how Louise Hay taught affirmation came out of Florence's work. Incredible. Then we've got the 19th into the 20th century. And I do think these are some of our most wonderful women as well. Now, at the same time, we've also got Cubism, abstract expressionism, and contemporary art. And interestingly, these forms of art are actually beginning to show us really the world represented in a quite a disjointed and disconnected way. So we see it even reflected in the art, which I think is absolutely, absolutely incredible. So I'm just going to stop the share there for a second, because just put a 1 in the chat if you think that's wild. If you think her story of manifestation is wild. And if you think, and a 2, if you're like, I feel nothing about it. I feel like I don't mind. Okay, obsessed. Thank you. Yeah, me too. Me too. So this is what we have an opportunity. And obviously tonight is just an introduction to that. But I want you to know you are part of something extraordinary for even being here and wanting to really understand what this thing called manifesting is, and really get into what the magic of being human is, and to recover from everything that we have been taught. And also, what I really want to tell you is that one of the biggest things you can also recover from, and please let me share this right now, is an addiction to intensity. Now, we get this from a somatic perspective, and I'm bringing this in as a somatic coach and practitioner. But, a lot of that bullshit that's around about the universe is testing me and I have to break down to break through and I'm waiting for a sign is what we call an addiction to intensity. It's also, by the way, I do my best work last minute. Do you? Or actually, are you just like vibing on the fact that you've only got 35 minutes to get the thing done? It's an addiction, small a, okay? And I don't want you to kind of think, well, what does that actually mean for me? But it's like, what would it be like to pop down also in amongst this, the addiction to intensity, and give yourself some runway to be able to start to create from a completely different space, which is, let's assume, for example, that we are all part of this incredible lineage that goes way, way back, that all of these teachings, they are available. But I got to tell you, I mean, most of the books behind me, and a lot of them on another one are, it's 25 years of study and research and practice to find these texts that have been forgotten, and the teachers, and then to embody them, to be able to teach them and share them with you. So I love that we're here for it. I love that we're seeing things differently. And let me know, drop a 1 of the chat if you're already seeing manifestation differently. If you already feel like you're going to approach it differently, if it feels like something has changed for you. Okay, that's really helpful. Really helpful. Yeah, great. So what's also happening there, which is one of the most important parts actually of receiving, is a willingness to put down anything that you thought that, that really wasn't in service to you before, and choosing to be willing to believe that there's another way that things can be experienced. There's another way that things can be experienced, because there really is. There really, really is. Thank you so much that you love my colorful books. Yeah, it's a great joy to put them like that. And they say thank you too, because everything has energy and everything is connected. So I love that. So let me share my screen once more, now that we have gone through our beautiful journey with our women here. And then let's have a wee look at what we're doing next. Oh yes, the Love-Schock method, of course. It's like I planned it. So I'm going to take you through some steps right now. That these are your 5 steps. If you're going to jot anything down, you're going to capture anything, jot these down, because these are the game changers right here. So the first step to create, and I'm going to start interchanging create with manifestation, is to align. And this is a very happy me in LA, by the way, having a photo shoot and hugging a tree. So the step is to align, and then really what does that mean? It means sitting your butt down on a meditation cushion. I know it is that thing. It means going for a walk. It means taking in the good. when I am teaching in my courses, we practice a lot around somatics, including taking in the good, because we are very, very unpracticed in that. And it's all about the beautiful things that are around us. It's all about the fractals that are around us and the natural magic that's at our fingertips as well. So your first step is align and do the thing that works for you within that. For me, it is meditation. Really, it is in the morning, connecting into source, connecting into the universe, connecting into God, goddess, and just being like, hey, hi, how are you doing? What's happening? It's getting that space for it to, for me to still my mind, the kind of monkey mind, all the to-do list, so that I can hear and see everything that exists, and then connect with what I want to bring through, into the world, because that's where the important part is. So we're going to do a little bit of this right now. We're going to connect to the divine, and we'll do it because it's a beautiful practice and we can do it in a reasonable time as well. So what I would offer you to do is, let's do a little bit of practicing taking in the good. So in the first instance, look around the space that you're in. Let your eyes fall on things that you really enjoy. And my body, that exhale, that's not me just doing that for teaching purposes. That is my body looking at the beautiful things that are in this room around me and connecting with them. So look around and take a few things in that are really delightful to you, that are really, really delightful. And then if it feels good and it's available, go ahead and close your eyes. Go ahead and close your eyes. And if you wear glasses and you want to take them off, you can go ahead and do that. You can go ahead and do that. And then I want you to bring your attention to about 8 inches just above your head. Yeah, thank you, Shadow. So you're just going to bring your attention to about 8 inches above your head. And you can do this with your eyes open or your eyes closed, whatever feels available to you right now. I know. And then really, again, drawing yourself from the past, because we really have been in the past. So we'll draw ourselves back from 4,000 years ago. We'll draw ourselves back from the future, and we'll arrive here in this space. Yeah, just again, feeling that, some of you are really feeling that in the heart center. That's beautiful. Just really being in that space. You might even be feeling a tingling. You might even be feeling a spaciousness in your fingers or your palms. Just notice if you want to get a little bit comfier. Notice if the breath wants to change at all. It's your breath. I'm not going to tell you what to do with it right now. And really just coming into this space of radical receiving, creating the connection, creating the channel, creating the vessel. Nowhere else to be but here right now. And again, being willing to imagine that there is this oneness that you are part of, that there is this infinite creation that you are part of too. And really imagining this pouring in of goodness and of magic and of joy and of possibility. And this is where it begins. This is where it begins. This is most definitely not where it ends, but this is where it begins. And if you have felt that, or if you've experienced what for a long time I've called a glimmer, even before it became part of the somatic language, when I was a kid, I used to talk about glimmers all the time. It's that sensation of magic being right at your fingertips. It's the flutter of love in your heart. It's a willingness to actually believe that maybe everything is going to be okay. That everything is going to be okay. And that you are a deliberate receiver. And this is also the space you create more capacity to receive. And if you feel this even a little bit, even a beat, a second, a half a second, a nanosecond, then that's you in connection with the divine. And that connection can grow. And you might want to rub your fingers and thumbs or wiggle your toes or have a little stretch. Yes. Shadow saying hello again. And again, drop a 1 in the chat if you experienced something, and drop a 2 in the chat if you didn't. That's okay too. That's okay too. Drop a 1 in the chat if you experienced something, if you feel more relaxed. Yeah. Drop a 2 in the chat, or, you know, if you're like, maybe not. That's okay. It's all welcome. It's all welcome. Yeah, wonderful. Yeah, wonderful. So again, a mix, totally fine. Totally fine. I should do calm. Thank you so much. Let's create that. Let's receive that. Received. Thank you. It is a short one tonight. It is a short one tonight, you know, and it's like, for those of you that have worked with me before, you know, part of my greatest joy is doing like really delicious, rich meditations with you. But I just wanted to give you a little sort of chef's kiss taste, which is wonderful. So that's what we want to do. You know, our first step is to align. Our second step is to connect. You know, it's so interesting creating that space for me also when I'm on my mini rebounder, when I'm moving, when I'm dancing, when I'm going for a walk. I'll be like, oh my goodness, idea. You know, this is the thing. This is the thing. And that, oh, no picture there. Maybe we're going to receive it. Who knows? Let's see what happens. But this is the thing. We overcomplicate it. And this is what receiving is. This is what receiving is. Receiving is learning, you know, to embody, you know, yourself. It's learning to hear actually creativity. It's listening to the voice or the feeling or the sensation or the colors, as Pink, you know, was singing her songs. You know, I lay awake at night with just so many colors and a million dreams for a world we're going to make. That's receiving, you know, align, connect, receive. Yes. It's so, so magical. And again, when we receive the ideas, then we can move forward, you know, then we can move forward. And this is it, people. This is it. Step 4 is you take what you have received and you create, you make that magic, you birth it into the world. You come into the archetype of artist, because again, you absolutely are. You discover the truth of who you are, what you want to create and what you want to feel. And then manifestation is the 5th step. It's the it's not even the last step, but for the purposes for tonight, it's like the 5th step. I know, my darling. I hear you, my darling. That's our shadow saying hello again. So manifestation is actually then taking this sense of being in alignment and experience so that you can become, so that you can actually manifest yourself. You can become who you are here to become. And that is what is incredibly, incredibly important. And we often don't talk about that. We often don't talk about that actually it's not about gathering things, although things are beautiful and wonderful and really, really important. But it is absolutely about becoming yourself, becoming an extraordinary reflection of a universe that is just constantly expanding. I mean, we have 752 moons in our solar system. Did you know that? Yeah, in our entire galaxy, 752 moons. How many do you focus on? The one just outside Earth. I mean, come on. We've got to get a bigger universe, right? We've got to get a bigger universe. We've got to get a bigger God. We've got to get a bigger source. I know, Vicky. Yeah, it's crazy. And in fact, there is a moon that the Earth 8. So we actually have a moon inside the earth, which really sort of tickles my tummy and I find deeply, deeply satisfying for lots and lots of reasons. So, you might have heard me saying this a lot, but the invitation is get a bigger universe. The invitation is, get a bigger experience of the world. The invitation is become a radical receiver, become a deliberate receiver. One of the things that you can start straight away with receiving is when people give you a compliment, just say thank you without being like, oh, blah, 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 and all the stuff that comes with it. Hey, do you need a hand with that? No, I'm totally fine. I'd love that. Thank you so much. Those are two things, especially if we present as women, we are shit at, but again, if you want to come into the Empress archetype, thank you. I would love that. Amazing. That's all taken care of. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. And Raja, yeah, I know. I don't know how many we can see. Yeah, but how fabulous to even consider that. How fabulous. So let me share my screen with you once more as we are moving towards things. Okay, we're here. So let me stop sharing that and then I'll come out for a second. So look, we are wrapping up rapidly now, and again, look, we have done a lot. You've got your 5 steps to begin to become radical receivers. Go forth, be fantastic, be incredible. Share all your wins, share all your stories with me. We've got at least 17 bullshit myths debunked. Fabulous. We've hung out with an extraordinary group of women, of people going back 4,000 years to today. And yes, I know, and Shadow has been very involved in the conversation throughout. You've had a wee taste of what it is to be in connection and alignment via coming into what I would call the higher heart in my lineage, the higher heart, which also brings us into the higher throat, which brings us into higher communication, which means we actually can get really clear on who we are, what we want, how to ask for it, and actually how to receive it before we've even asked for it, which is wild, which is absolutely wild. And we've also had a wee conversation actually about also recovering from addiction to intensity. Let things be a little bit less, hubbly bubbly, as it were, just let things be a little bit closer to your capacity in your nervous system, because actually receiving and manifesting love and money and our experience of ourselves are all related to our nervous system. So how much capacity you have for anything is directly related to your biology. And I know, buddy, and when we lay over spirit and we lay over somatic strategy and we lay over the sciences as well, and then we lay over art and the archetypes, we get into this like radically brilliant place of creating ourselves and creating our experience of the world. And so what I want to let you know as well is that, again, this is a wee taste. We're not going to have, this is a lot of client love. So being referred to as the modern Mary Poppins, the problem with working with me is that people don't have any problems. How lovely. That when people work with me, that I do take what's in your head, because if it's in your head, it's in your heart. We just got to bring it out. We got to bring it out. And there's just lots and lots of love and goodies. So here's the deal. You can take this, and if this is as far as our journey goes, that's totally cool. That is totally, totally cool. It's been a delight to journey with you, and there's so much magic here. And if you are happy sort of in asking and being in the rituals and being in what I call spiritual addiction, that's totally okay as well. If that is all your jam, this is not me again saying that there's a right or a wrong to any of this. But if you've glimmered something that you really enjoyed tonight and you'd love to experience more of it with me ultimately, then this is your invitation to cultivate a practice with me and to come into receiving and to come into your magic, which is totally human, which is absolutely totally human. So for the very first time, I am offering a manifestation course specifically about becoming a radical receiver. We're calling it Manifestation Reimagined. It'll be 6 weeks together, and we will have all of these bonuses, wisdom libraries, recorded sessions, a community cauldron, ongoing goodies, and so much more. And I'm offering it to you for the next couple of weeks for 197 quid. It will go up to 555. I mean, it's still incredible value, and the value isn't even in those numbers, but we exist in a world where we offer one another appreciation, It's really, really important. And I can't tell you how excited I am to be able to offer, to be able to offer the magic of this as well. So what I want to do is I'm going to, in case anybody hasn't signed up for the replay, I'm going to drop the link in now so that you have got the link. So if you want to jump on that, and if you want to get sent the replay so that you've got it, you are completely welcome. And that is absolutely there. And then similarly, what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop in the Manifestation Reimagined link as well. And if you're like, yep, this is my jam, today is the day. I would absolutely love to sit with you across October, November, the autumnal seasons, bringing all of that magic in, learning more about her story, experiencing, practicing more somatically to create more capacity in your system. Then it would absolutely be my greatest joy to play with you in that, because our time is now, right? We get to play and we get to experience magic. And I do want to thank you so much for playing with me tonight. It's been such a joy. And I'd love it if you could drop a 1 in the chat if you've learned something new. If you've learned something new, drop a 1 in the chat. That would be so good to see. Equally, if you haven't learned anything new, drop a 2 in the chat. I'm always available. Live feedback is important. Absolutely important. But otherwise, I just want to again say thank you so much. It's my absolute delight and pleasure. It's a massive subject. I think we did so well. Shadow, you're getting some love as well, fella. Yeah, thank you so much. And it's been an absolute joy to sit with you. I'll leave you to the rest of your days, and then I will catch up with you all very, very soon, my loves. But take care for now, and see you later. Lots and lots of love. Bye.